Uh, Today we are going to talk about some feminist writers. Among the feminist writers who had who had raised feminine female kind, feminist all the female genders into a social status are Mary Wollstonecraft, Simone de Beauvoir, Begum Rokeya, Tosliba Nasrin, and there are some few to name. Mary Wollstonecraft is also a feminist writer, a British writer, philosopher, and advocate of women's rights. And Simone de Beauvoir is also a French philosopher, existentialist philosopher, writer, social theorist, and feminist writer, feminist existentialist, and feminist theorist. Tosliba Nasrin is also one of the most modern feminist writer, feminist theorist, and feminist philosopher. In the same way, Begum Rokeya is also a feminist writer and feminist theorist. She is a philosopher. She is also an educator. Today, we will talk about Begum Rokeya, who raised the women folk from the nether world to a world of status of today. Begum Rokeya Shakhawat Hossain, commonly known as Begum Rokeya, she was a prominent Bengali writer. She was a feminist thinker. She was a she was a she was an educator. She was a political activist from British India. She is widely regarded as a pioneer of women's liberation in Bangladesh and India. And she was born and died on 9 December. She died at the age of 52. She was born in Rangpur, Bangladesh. Begum Rokeya advocated for men and women to be treated equally as rational beings, noting that the lack of education for women was responsible for their inferior economic position. Her major literary works include Motichur, which means in English a string of sweet pearls, published in 1904 and 1922. Now you see one thing I would like to remind you, 1922 is the year when Bidrohi of Qazi Nazrul Islam was published, which raised a tumultuous condition in the then British India. So, Motichur is a collection of essays in two volumes expressing her feminist thoughts. That means she expressed her thoughts centering on the lifestyle of women. Sultana's Dream, another feminist science fiction, a small novel which was published in 1908. And this novel is set in Ladyland ruled by women. Padmarag, which means Essence of the Lotus in English, published in the year 1924, depicting the difficulties faced by Bengali wives. Uh, Obrod Bashini is another work which means The Confined Women, and it was published in 1931. A spirited attack on the extreme forms of parda that endangered women's lives and self-image. Parda or parda means is a process of wearing or putting on clothes according to Islamic ritual. Begum Rokeya held education to be the central precondition of women's liberation. establishing the first school aimed primarily at Muslim girls in Kolkata. She is said to have gone from house to house, persuading the parents to send their girls to her school in Nisha. Until her death, she ran the school despite facing hostile criticism and social obstacles. In 1916, she founded the Muslim Women's Association, an organization that fought for women's education and employment. In 1926, Begum Rokeya presided over the Bengal Women's Education Conference convened in Kolkata, the first significant attempt to bring women together in support of women's education rights. She was engaged in debates and conferences regarding the advancement of women until her death on 9 December 1932, shortly after presiding over a session during the Indian Women's Conference. Bangladesh observes Rokeya Day or Rokeya Divos on 9 December each year to commemorate her works and legacy. On that day, Bangladesh government also confers Begum Rokeya Padak on individual women for their exceptional achievement. In 2004, Begum Rokeya was ranked number 6 in BBC's poll of the greatest Bengali of all time. So, Begum Rokeya is our Mary Wollstonecraft. Begum Rokeya is our Simon the Beauvoir. Begum Rokeya is our Taslima Nasrin. It was Begum Rokeya who, for the first time in Bangladesh, advocated for the rights of education to women. It is Begum Rokeya who advocated for the human rights of women. It is Begum Rokeya who emphasized the education for all women. It is Begum Rokeya who insisted that without education, no woman can bring progress, no woman can be successful. So it is Begum Rokeya who, for the first time in history in Bangladesh, called upon all the people of Bangladesh and India to teach their women folk. Okay, now let's talk about the background and family of Begum Rokeya. Begum Rokeya was born in 1880 to an aristocratic Bengali Muslim family in the village of Pairaband, Rangpur, the then Bengal Presidency, erstwhile undivided Bengal. Her ancestors had migrated from Tabriz in Iran to create fortune in India and had established a zamindari system in Rangpur. They had served in the military and judiciary during the Mughal regime. Her father, Johiruddin Muhammad Abu Ali Haidar Sabir, was a zamindar and a multilingual intellectual. He married 4 times. His marriage to Rahatun Nessa Sabera Chaudhurani resulted in the birth of Rokeya, who had 2 sisters and 3 brothers, one of whom died in childhood. Rokeya's eldest brother Ibrahim Saber and her immediate elder sister Korimunnesa Khanum Chaudhurani both had a major influence on the life of Begum Rokeya. Korimunnesa wanted to study Bengali, the language of the majority in Bengali people, against her family's wish, who preferred to use Arabic and Persian as the media of education and communication. Ibrahim taught English and Bengali to Rokeya and Karimunnesa. Karimunnesa married at the age of 14 and later became a poetess. Both her sons, Abdul Karim Ghaznavi and Abdul Halim Ghaznavi, became politicians and occupied ministerial portfolios under British authorities. Now we will talk about the marriage of Begum Rokeya. Begum Rokeya got married to Sakhawat Hussain. Rokeya married at the age of 18 in 1898 to a 38-year-old Khan Bahadur Shakawat Hussain. He was an Urdu-speaking deputy magistrate of Bhagalpur, a present-day district of Bihar state. He earned his Bachelor of Agriculture degree from England and was a member of Royal Agricultural Society of England. He married Rokeya after the death of his first wife. As a liberal, he encouraged Rokeya to continue learning Bengali and English. He also encouraged her to write, and on his advice, she adopted Bengali as the principal language for her literary works. Begum Rokeya at that time wrote on different topics, especially on feminism. Begum Rokeya wrote Sultana's Dream, which was published in 1908 before her husband died in 1909. In Sultana's Dream, Rokeya wrote reversing the roles of men and women, in which women were the dominant sex and the men were subordinate and confined to the mandana, the male equivalent of the jinana. She also depicts an alternative feminist vision of science in which inventions such as solar ovens, flying cars, and cloud condensers are used to benefit the whole of society. It is regarded as a notable and influential satire. She wrote regularly for the monthly magazine Shaugat, Mohammadi, নবপ্রভু, মহিলা, ভারত মহিলা, আল ইসলাম, নওরোজ, মাহেনও, বঙ্গীয় মুসলমান সাহিত্য পত্রিকা, The Musalman Indian Ladies Magazine, and others. 5 months after Begum Rokeya's husband's death, she established a high school, naming it Shakhawat Memorial Girls High School. It started in Bhagalpur, a traditionally Urdu-speaking area with only 5 students. A dispute with her husband's family over property forced her to move the school in 1911 to Calcutta, a Bengali-speaking area. She ran the school for 24 years. Rokeya founded the Anjuman-e-Khawatin-e-Islam, Islamic Women's Association, which was active in holding debates and conferences regarding the status of women and education. She advocated reform, particularly for women, and believed that parochialism and excessive conservatism were principally responsible for the relatively slow development of Muslims in British India. Anjuman-e-Khawatin-e-Islam organized events for social reforms based on the original teachings of Islam that, according to her, were lost. Now we are going to talk about literary style of Begum Rokeya. That means how she wrote. Begum Rokeya wrote in a number of genres like short stories, poems, essays, novels, and satirical writings. She developed a distinctive literary style characterized by creativity, logic, and a wry sense of humor. She started writing in the Nobunur from about 1903 under the name Mrs. R.S. Hussain. However, there is an opinion that her first published writing, Pipasha, appeared in Navoprabha in 1902. Her writings called upon women to protest against injustices and break the social barriers that discriminated against them. Rokeya said in one of his writings, whenever any woman tries to raise their head, weapons in the form of religious or holy scriptures strike her head. Men propagate those scriptures as God's commandments to subdue us in darkness, Those scriptures are nothing but systems constructed by man. The words we listen from male saints would be different if they were spoken by female saints. Religious religions only tighten the yoke of servitude round women and justify male domination over women. Rokeya said in her Sultana's Dream in 1904. So now let's know about the writing. I mean the writing the short story or the novels Begum Rokeya wrote. Let's know their name. Begum Rokeya had written almost several novels or essays. So her first novels named Pipasha, this means thirst in English, published in 1902. Motichur, first volume, is a collection of essays, first published in 1904, and the second volume published in 1922. The second volume includes stories and fairy tales. Shaurojagot, the solar system. Delicia Hatia, translation of the murder of Delicia Mary Corelli. Gyan Phal, the fruit of knowledge. Nari Srishti, creation of women. Nars Nelly, Mukti Phal, the fruit of emancipation. Sultana's Dream, published in 1905. Padurag, Essence of the Lotus novel, published in 1924. Avrod Bashini, The Secluded Women, published in 1931. Boligarto, short story. Nari Radhika, The Rights of Women, an unfinished essay for the Islamic Women's Association. God Gives, Man Robs, published in 1927. Education Ideals for the Modern Indian Girl, 1931. So that's simply about the works and writings of Begum Rokeya. Now let's talk about the death of Begum Rokeya, the great woman who is the pioneer of women liberation of India and Bangladesh. Begum Rokeya died of heart problems on 9 December 1932 on her 52nd birthday. 9 December is celebrated as the Rokeya Day in Bangladesh. On 9 December 2007, Google celebrated her 137th birthday, honoring her with a Google Doodle. Begum Rokeya's grave in Sodhpur was rediscovered due to the efforts of historian Amolendu De. It is located inside the campus of Panihati Girls High School, Panihati, Sodhpur. Rokeya is considered as the pioneer feminist of Bengal. Universities, public buildings, and a national award has been named after her in Bangladesh. She was an inspiration for many later generation female authors, including Sophia Kamal, Tahumima Anam, and others. And she also she might also have influenced French feminist existential philosopher, writer, social theorist, and feminist activist Simone de Beauvoir. So far as I guess on Begum Rokeya, there are many eponyms on Begum Rokeya, like Begum Rokeya Day, a commemoration of the birth and death anniversary of Rokeya, observed annually on 9 December in Bangladesh. Begum Rokeya Padak, a Bangladeshi national honor conferred on individual women for their exceptional achievements. Begum Rokeya Memorial Center, an academic and cultural hub in Pairaband, Bangladesh. Rokeya Saroni, a road in Dhaka. Begum Rokeya University, a public state university in Bangladesh. Rokeya Hall, the largest female residential hall of the University of Dhaka. Even Khulna University of Engineering and Technology, Bangladesh Agricultural University. Rajshahi University also has a female residential hall named after Begum Rokeya. Sakhawat Memorial Government Girls High School, Kolkata, West Bengal. Begum Rokeya Sriti Balika Vidyalaya in Salt Lake, West Bengal. So simply, that's all about Begum Rokeya Sakawat Hossain. But in Bangladesh, she is the first woman who pioneered, who orchestrated, who started the education for women in Bangladesh and India. So if you talk about uh, Begum Rokeya's Sultana's Dream, either in English or in Bengali, you will see uh, an utopia where women are the bosses and men are doing under the woman. So, hundreds of years ago, Begum Rokeya had dreamt in the eyes of Sultana, uh, having dreamt of a country where women are the bosses and men working under the woman. So, uh, since Begum Rokeya was born in 1880, it's almost 150 years today since Begum Rokeya died and was born. So I hope Begum Rokeya will play a pivotal role in awakening the women folk, in awakening the education for the girls and women in Bangladesh and India and overall across the world. And wishing you all to read all the books of Begum Rokeya. Begum Rokeya's English or Bengali are very simple. The sentences are always very short to understand. I think if you read, you will get a lot of knowledge about how Begum Rokeya fought against the male-dominated society for the emancipation of women and girls. So thank you very much. And if you like this video, you are requested to browse all other videos in this channel. I think these videos will help you to get some glimpse about education, about various kinds of lectures on different topics. Thank you. Bye bye for watching this.